A person by the name of the Night Badger actually told me that in a thread that I should do the odd video on the articles that are in MenZ Magazine. I thought that was a good idea. Not so much to promote the magazine, which is, of course, a good idea, but also because these issues really should be discussed, and they need to be, spread as an idea and say, like, you should really be thinking about this sort of stuff. Now, I think the first thing to do, though, is to talk about, well, the first article that I should talk about, actually, is in this issue of MenZ Magazine, issue 1, is addressing good Christian women, which was written by Gonzo. Now, this actually began its life as a post on a BBS, so, I mean, it seems a little bit personalized, but I think that really gives it a lot of strength. It's definitely a bombastic writing style that's incredibly entertaining to read, so I highly recommend it. But sort of the main point of this article is that Christian women and traditional women sat back and allowed or even encouraged the destruction of the family by allowing, this, that, or the other little tiny piece of legislation, or the change in this law or the change in that law. And it's always been justified, of course, for the sake of the children. But essentially what it is, what he's saying is that the system allows even people that are highly religious and very committed to each other at the beginning of the relationship, the system allows those people to destroy each other so easily, and the culture encourages it. And his complaint in this is that Christian traditional women ignore all of this when they admonish the men in relationships to step up again and again and again and be a man. Also, the point is sort of tangentially made in here, but the point is essentially that Christian women have completely let down their end of the bargain, even in terms of the Christian sort of faith. They aren't homemakers, they don't, do this, that, or the other traditional thing. Yet they expect the same sort of traditional behavior from men. Now, having just read this article for the 18,000th time after putting this thing together, I went to this place called The Thinking Housewife, which is essentially a traditional Christian woman who's very, very vocal about being an anti-feminist as well. Now, she seems to think, well, actually, here's what it is. She bought into the idea that feminism is about destroying patriarchy and the traditional family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that might have been what it was originally about, but that was basically just the stepping stone to where they really want to get, which is female legal and social supremacy. Now, this woman seems to think that just because she's fully supportive, for example, of, man as breadwinner, woman as stay-at-home mom, that makes her an anti-feminist. Now, I don't know where she got that idea, because that particular family model, while very discouraged in most feminist circles, is still regarded as a legitimate female pastime. What she seems to be arguing, though, is that men's rights guys like me are essentially a bunch of whiners, crybabies, really. I mean, that's they step up and be a man. Now, I don't know where I've heard that before, but what she's doing is essentially exactly what Gonzo is complaining about in his article, which is essentially saying men must do this, men must do that, the Bible says this, the Bible says that, and then completely ignoring the legal and social framework that makes that impossible. It's not an abstract thing. These are very real issues. This is very real force that guys like me are up against every day, trying to get the word out, and trying to get people to think about these things. And I'm sure the commentary to this particular video will be full of people saying pretty much the same shit that you hear over and over again. But it would be really cool if people would think about this for a second. Chivalry and feminism are identical, absolutely identical. The only difference is that feminism makes it legal. You have to do it rather than you should do it. There is, functionally, as far as the suppression of men's rights, the suppression of men's voices, there is no difference whatsoever between a devoutly religious right-wing traditionalist and an extreme Marxist feminist. The only difference between them is the methodology employed.